top of... Wait. Hold on, Q. Feel like I'm at the tippy top of my game, looking down at the rafters. I had to son these boys, can't leave them bastards. A lot of dudes, just some undercover actress. I don't fall for it, I'm privy to all your tactics. Yeah, so try again, this time take a vitamin.
360 cameras are like Jared Leto. Anytime I see his stupid, beautiful face, I know the movie is gonna suck. I just don't buy him, and that's how I feel about 360 cameras. Call me old-fashioned, but 360 shots just always take me out of a cinematic piece. Sure, for social media and commercial stuff, they could be great, but we never had one that could hold up to that level of production. Until now, maybe. Now, what makes the DJI OSMO 360 any different? It has actual 10-bit log. That's the only reason I'm making this video, purely just to see if it can actually hold up to a higher end setup.
Easiest ways to capture yourself on a motorcycle, you know, if you don't have a full production crew like Ford versus Ferrari or any of that, is a 360 camera. My neck, my back, lick my...
This is sponsored by DJI. No, they're not telling me what to say or tell me I can't say this or can't say that. They're confident in their products. And if I like a product, I will talk about it. This isn't a review. This is simply me sharing why I like this camera. It's time to talk about the DJI Osmo 360. Elephant in the room. Obviously, we know that Insta360 has been doing this for a while now, but there's one thing that they have always lacked, and I do not know why they have not implemented it into any of their cameras, but that is the 10-bit log. So as a prosumer like myself, I've been doing commercial photography and filmmaking for the past decade of my life. But with that said, I use a lot of professional cameras. The issue is with 8-bit footage, it's really hard to camera match that with more professional cameras like I'm shooting on right now. In fact, we were shooting on the Lumix S1 II, and I'm color grading this with my new Rambler film emulation LUTs. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check those out. And we're shooting in ARRI log, but we're shooting in H.265 10-bit on this camera. Guess what? The Osmo 360 has the same 10-bit log. Now, it's not going to be as robust or as crazy of an image quality as we're filming on right now, but what this gives us access to is the ability to camera match. So when, as you guys saw the intro, we cut from this camera with all the beautiful features that it has and full frame image quality, we cut straight to this, and I was able to camera match it and color grade the footage to match. Now, it still looks like 360 footage. We'll go over DJI's 360 software here lightly, but why I do that, I'll also explain my choices because a lot of the times when it comes to 360 footage, I think people just do more trendy looking stuff, where I want to try to go a little bit more towards stoicism and cinematic type filling shots.
All right, guys, so DJI did send me out this little clamp thing here. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it. Yeah, you kind of see it. One side of the clamp goes into a selfie pole. The other one, you can just clamp wherever you want it. And then we also have the DJI Mic 2, and I am gonna click on the 32-bit float internal recording. So that should be doing the 32-bit internally on here. Now, real quick about this bike. This is a Triumph Scrambler 400X. It's a little 400cc little thumper single cylinder motor. So it vibrates a lot. It's gonna be interesting to see if this can hold up with, keeping all this steady. But yeah, so I'm just gonna take you guys for a ride through the mountains here, and we'll see how it does. This setup looks incredibly dumb and dangerous. That's the setup, not the smartest, but we'll see how it goes. Ooh, it's wiggly. Yeah, this isn't smart.
Let's start with the biggest thing, and that's the sensor. Now, I know some of you guys might not want to admit this who are watching this, but size does matter. I'm sorry to say that, but it does. So on pretty much every 360 camera out on the market right now, they're using more rectangle looking sensors. And when they're trying to get that circular 360 image out of there, they just have to end up cropping off the sides of the sensor. So they're basically just cropping this off. What DJI did that was different is they used a square sensor. And when you use a square sensor and you try to get a round image out of it, you have to crop it way less. So why does this matter? Because instead of them having to crop the sides off, they get a taller sensor. And when you get a bigger, taller, you know, just a more girthy sensor, you're going to get more color fidelity. You're going to get a little bit more sharpness out of it. You're going to get a little bit more dynamic range out of it. So now that we talked about the sensor, let's talk about the 10-bit more. Actually, no. Let's talk about the mic, because that's the other thing that I'm really excited about.
All right, guys, I'm gonna coast to try to preserve some gas here, but this should be interesting. Again, if you guys can hear me, I'm going about 35, 40 miles per hour. Again, we're just coasting. So yeah, oh, it feels amazing out right now. Because as you guys saw, I literally just have the mic tucked underneath my helmet. I do have the dead cat on it, and I have the mic facing away from the head-on wind. But, you know, we'll see if it does anything.
I am using DJI's Mic 2 right now, and I'm just recording 32-bit float directly onto the mic. Now, the glorious thing is I can actually connect this mic directly to the Osmo 360 now. It's incredibly simple to attach. You don't have to plug in any dongles. You don't have to like plug in any Wi-Fi passwords or any of that. It literally just simply connects and it just works. And the sound quality, at least to me, and again, I've been producing music since I was 18. I am a musician. A lot of people here do not know that. I actually have music on Spotify if you just look up my name on Spotify. But to my ears, there's not really a huge quality difference compared to if you were to plug a mic directly into a camera versus using a DJI wireless mic like this. That alone is like huge, that I don't have to plug in any dongles into this thing. Like, this is all I need. This right here, I can vlog with this, I can get BTS with this, or I can get creative shots like you saw in this video.
Sounded like something fell off the bike, but this is part of riding. Sometimes shit just falls off or vibrates off. So yeah, this is sick. All right, I'm gonna change the angle up a little bit here though. Let's see what we could do here. I really like this look. This looks pretty cool. You can't see the bike as much. At least I don't think you can. Well, actually you kind of can. This is what's so unique about a 360 camera. You know, you could just kind of set it and place it, and in post, you know, you're going to be able to get some type of shot out of it. I still feel like the DJI Action 5 has better image quality overall, because, you know, with the 360 camera, there's a lot more going on. But with that, you know, I've only done 2 setups. We're on our 3rd setup already. You know, in order to get all the framing that I just did, that would have been like 6 to like 10 setups with the traditional action camera. So, you know, 360 cameras are freaking amazing for stuff like this, because you kind of just set it and forget it and then worry about it in post. But that's also the headache part about 360 cameras is, you know, having to reframe and everything in post.
Now let's go over the camera a little bit and, you know, how it is to use and the menus and everything. And then we'll go over the footage and the 10-bit and how I graded it and all that. If you've ever used a DJI action camera, the whole layout's going to be very, very, very familiar, which I was really excited to see that they went that route. But let's just go through the settings right here. Again, this is the most exciting part right here. And you can see it's D-Log M. So we also have normal, and even the normal is going to be 10-bit, which is super important. And then we have color recovery. Basically, all this is going to do is give you a more viewable image when you're using the D-Log. Endurance mode, if you're not using any of the slow-mo modes, endurance mode is just going to help save some battery. You know, when I went out riding with this, I was almost recording the whole time with it. I was out there for like 2 hours, but I was probably filming for like an hour and a half. And when I got back, I think the batteries are around like 30%. Now, if we click down here, this is where all of our resolutions are at. Now, I pretty much kept it in 8K because, as you guys saw, I really like to crop in tight and fully utilize all the resolutions. We can do up to 50 frames per second in 8K. And if we go to 6K, we get up to 60. And if we go to 4K, we could go all the way up to 100 frames per second. And I just film in 24 frames per second because, again, you know, I try to do more filmmaking type stuff. And then we have our lens modes, ultra wide, wide, and standard. We have all of our different modes right here. But say if you're somebody who's been looking at the DJI Action 5, but now you're thinking about getting this, you can actually kind of use this as like the DJI Action 5 you can put it in the single lens mode. There's not gonna be any 360 footage on this, but you can still use it as if you're vlogging with an Action 5. And then again, super similar to the DJI Action 5, if we scroll down, you know, we have all of our menu settings right here. So, you know, your mic settings, your camera settings, if you want to do quick shots, there is gesture controls on this as well. There's also voice commands, and they will have lens guards coming out as well. I don't have them currently, so I don't know if the image quality is going to hurt. Now, here's another ginormous feature that nobody else is doing except DJI. We have freaking internal storage. Look at that, internal storage. Do you know how many times I've been out filming and accidentally freaking forgot an SD card? We have freaking 60 gigabytes of storage directly on camera. This is insane. But obviously you can still plug in an SD card if you need to. All right, so let's go over this. This was actually the initial grade that I did, so it's gonna look a little bit different than the final. This is what the DJI D-Log M 10-bit log footage looks straight out of camera. You can see it is a log image. So the first thing that I like to use SynMatch. This is made by Film Convert. When doing more professional grades, a lot of us will use DaVinci's color space transformer. Now, D-Log M is not supported by Color Space Transformer and DaVinci. So, SynMatch, you can get this in Final Cut, Premiere, all that. I'll put a link in the description. Again, it's just such a freaking useful tool for all these DJI cameras with D-Log M on it. So I'm just gonna turn that on. So you can see it's converting that footage into ARRI Log C. And then from there, I'm just gonna apply my new Rambler film emulation LUTs. These are made to be very flat and kind of have a lot of juice behind them there. And these are ARRI Log LUTs. So if you could convert your camera to ARRI Log, you can just slap this on and it should work just fine. First off, the exposure is a little bit bright, so I'm just gonna come into here and we're gonna lower it down more. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just gonna desaturate it a little bit. I'm gonna add some contrast, let's do 1.2. I'm just gonna adjust the white balance a little bit more again, a little bit more green. Let's warm it up a hair bit. From here, I'm gonna go after my LUT. I'm gonna correct the white and black points. Again, this is usually the things I do, even if I'm using this LUT on my current setup that you're seeing right now. I'm gonna go before my LUT, bake in even more of a grade on there. So now I just copied and pasted it. That's the 10-bit log footage. Like, this reminds me heavily of the DJI Action 5 camera, and I've gotten blown up on the internet a bunch in comments and just in person even, of people asking me, one, was that really the Action 5? And then two, was that like a Sony full frame camera or this or that? For some reason, people don't believe that the Action 5 looks that good. And this is getting a very similar image, not as clean or sharp as the Action 5, which is fine because the Action 5 can be too sharp sometimes, but you know, it is getting a very similar look out of it. So this is what I use. This might look a little funky right now, but let me simplify this. So this guy looks really strange and you might be like, what the hell is that? So one side you could clamp on to anything. I could clamp on to this flashlight that I have right here. I could just put that on there, clamp it down. If I need to do like some weird 360 shot with the flashlight, I don't know. Also, I don't know why I'm lighting with the flashlight. I just like flashlights. And then the other side, your selfie stick's gonna go into there. Now, during launch of this, DJI did come out with a few options for selfie sticks. This one I use for the motorcycle purely because this thing is incredibly long. Let me see if I can show you. I'm gonna have to come back here to show you guys. I think that's all of them. You guys can see how long this is. And this is a carbon fiber selfie stick. So this is honestly shockingly light for, you know, how ginormous this thing looks. So this was using on the motorcycle. I would basically put this on the handlebars or the grab handle on the back. You know, you can put it anywhere really. And for the most part, it held up. If it went too long, it would kind of slump over. But there's one other part that I need to show you guys. So this is probably the most exciting thing. I think I'm gonna use this a lot when I'm using the 360 camera for BTS type stuff. This is the butt of it. This is the top where the camera goes. I'm just gonna hit the butt. Ooh, that's some Batman shit. When you drop it, it just lands. So I'm just gonna drop it. That's so rad. So that's gonna be incredibly handy. This thing is kind of dangerous though. I mean, not really dangerous, but there has been times where, you know, it just accidentally popped open, so. Now, let's go over their app now, because that's kind of like the main thing behind a 360 camera. So we're just gonna utilize the very first 360 image that you saw in this video. So it starts off, obviously, we're looking at the road, right? and then it goes down into the road and it comes up right onto me. First thing I would suggest doing is going into the image tab and turning on image distortion calibration. This is going to help you get a little bit more of a flatter look. The more flatter, I would say, like less of that bulbous, like round type look, the more of that look that you get rid of, the more it's going to look like a more professional, bigger camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll and I'm going to find the shot where I want it to pivot onto me. That's right here. So I'm just going to click there, and right there you saw that added a keyframe. Now I'm going to go back to this, and this is very important because the way you move the camera is the way it's going to play back. I'm going to add the plus. From here, I'm going to go upside down, and I'm going to go to my roll angle, and I'm going to roll it. I'm getting dizzy just looking at this. Now let's just play that back. That's all we did. Okay, and there you go. Literally that freaking simple. Now, last things I want to show you real quick is the distortion control. So we could zero this out, and then we could zoom it back out, and that gets a little bit more of a flatter look, in my opinion. But you saw where we started off with. That could work too. There's just different ways of doing it. So we're gonna go back to the first keyframe. What I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna zoom in actually, because I want it to feel, again, like a traditional camera. If I was using a traditional camera, I'm not going to shoot, 14 millimeters wide. For something like this, I might do like a 28 or a 35 millimeter. So right there, that's going to be our flatter shot right there. Now let's just play that back. And there you go. You can see as it transitions, it just smoothly does it. But yeah, so that's all we're going to go over for this video, because again, I could spend hours breaking this down and talking about filmmaking theories on how to make this look more filmic and blah, blah, blah. But we're just going to end it there.
I'll probably get pulled over for doing this if there was a cop, so.
All right, guys, for the next few minutes of this video, to wrap it up, I'm just going to play a bunch of the 360 footage that I captured. A couple things you want to look out for. One, usually with 8-bit log footage or even just standard 8-bit footage, when you're trying to push heavy color grades like this, big blue skies like you're seeing right now tend to start banding and just falling apart. You'll see on every single shot, we have zero banding, we have zero issues. Now, I am using film grade, but just know the actual files in the final export of my computer has zero banding on it.
Yeah, that type of stuff make you a double cup and do delete them numbers all at your phone. But I've been trying to be someone you can count on. Yeah.
I just discovered my rear brakes don't work. That's interesting and very dangerous. Oh God.
Aside from that, what I was really excited to do with this is, try to capture what it feels like to be on a motorcycle, because it is so immersive, obviously, in real life. I know those words don't belong together, but...
Ooh, I'm running out of gas. I might shorten this trip here.
But there's only a couple movies that come to mind that can really make you feel like you're immersed into a scene. And that is Ford vs. Ferrari and the Formula One movie. The way they shot that, they have engineers working with them and everything. Obviously, for the rest of us peasants, we do not have access to that. So a 360 camera is literally the best way to capture shots like this.
I do like a drone overhead shot. That's one fun thing about 360 cameras. You get cool looking drone shots right over you. But I've seen 3 sheriffs on this mountain already in the past 10 minutes. So let's hope they don't get curious on what the hell I'm doing. That's sketchy. That's gotta be cool though.
So enjoy the rest of this footage. Also, the last thing I need to say, all the music in this video is from Artlist. This is not sponsored by them, but I have just been using the hell out of this website and absolutely love the songs that they have on there. So I have a link in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, enjoy.